Okay. Good evening. Temple Adash Shalom Sisterhood, Brotherhood, and Adult Education are honored to welcome you this evening for a conversation with our Rabbi Meeka Simmerly as she shares her personal journey as documented in her new book, A Mother to Many, Creating a Meaningful Childless Jewish Life. I will share with you that I have not read an entire book in almost 2 decades. Very true. Due to work, life, and mostly the unintentional nodding off after I begin reading the first page, which has been photographed by my family too many times. But to my surprise, this book was different. I read the first 24 pages in one sitting. From the first words of the foreword, I was hooked. Reading this book in its entirety gave me a deeper understanding of the experiences of those navigating childlessness within Jewish life. Rabbi Meeka writes with honesty, compassion, and wisdom, offering us a glimpse into her soul as she gives a voice to an experience that is often left unspoken. With sensitivity and insight, this work reminds us that a meaningful Jewish life is built not only through parenthood, but through love, community, teaching, friendship, and acts of kindness. Please join me in welcoming Rabbi Meeka Simmerly, truly a mother to many.
Thank you so much, Marcia. Thank you, everybody, for being here this evening. I wanted to say how grateful I am to be standing and sharing this new book with you. Thank you all who are watching us from afar via YouTube. This is definitely a Shehecheyanu moment. I have been working on this book for over 10 years, and I'll talk a little bit about when and where it started. And I'd like to invite you to say the Shehecheyanu with me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kiyemanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. We thank you, God, for sustaining us, for bringing us to this joyous occasion. I am Rabbi Meeka Simmerly. I often describe myself as a mother to many people of all ages, a role I have come to embrace while living in my small, cozy farming community right here in Harford County. I wrote this book as a member of a smaller, often nearly invisible group, childless Jewish individuals and couples. We live our lives without children in a culture that places a profound emphasis on childbearing. You see, growing up in the 70s in Israel from a very young age, we are taught the commandment to be fruitful and multiply. I grew up in a Zionist Israel that was still developing, still carrying the deep wounds of the Holocaust when so many of our people were lost. The Zionist vision was intertwined with Idud Hayeluda, the encouragement of young families to have as many children as possible in order to rebuild and replenish our dwindling numbers. Even today, when I visit Israel, I'm almost always asked, how many children or now grandchildren do you have? The question reflects an assumption about life that does not match my own. There was a time when such a question would have hurt me deeply, but it no longer does. This book traces my journey from experiencing myself as a victim of barrenness to becoming a thriving individual, someone who has embraced life fully. It is the story of my shift from being childless to child-free, a transformation that allowed me to redefine my place in the society. By sharing my story, I hope to reach individuals and couples navigating infertility, offering reassurance that a full and meaningful life, rich in both giving and receiving, is not only possible, but profoundly real. I once believed that having children was something I deeply wanted. And it didn't happen for me, for my husband and me. I was overwhelmed with grief and anger. I felt defeated and ashamed. I avoided baby showers. It was nearly impossible to hide my frustration when other women announced their pregnancies. I couldn't bring myself to feel happy for anyone with children, and I refused to buy them gifts. Then guilt and embarrassment crept in for harboring these negative feelings, which only deepened my sense of isolation, depression, and alienation. In my early 20s, I wrote this poem. Back then, my name was Michal Levin. That's my maiden name, Michal Levin. And the poem I wrote is titled My Noga. When the moon swells full and round each month, a woman's body weeps, mourning the child who never was. Again and again, sharp arrows pierce pain with every red drop from a body that aches, a reminder of fruitless attempts, of hopes unfulfilled. Come to me, my child. I have been waiting for you so long. Within me, I have woven a cradle, soft and ready, and my soul calls your name. Noga, my Noga, please come to be. Pain was real. Being the only woman in my family and age group without children felt devastating. A profound loss of control, accompanied by deep disappointment and a sense of failure. At the time, my family believed I wasn't doing enough to conceive, urging me to travel to Israel for infertility treatments, trying to allure me with how inexpensive it is to get pregnant in Israel. But I was terrified of the invasive procedures, and the pressure nearly drove me to the brink. For a long time, I identified as a childless woman. However, over time, I began to embrace my grief. I learned to find different ways to nurture and mother. Slowly, I started to experience a sense of the divine in other gifts that life or God had given me. Now, as a rabbi, I realized that the process of introspection was the unexpected bridge I had to cross to become the woman and clergy that I am today. Through healing my wounds, I gradually transformed into someone who is child-free. My turning point came during an ordinary walk. Coming towards me, I noticed a woman moving forward with ease, a giant schnauzer at her side and a stroller in front of her. In that moment, something happened. In that moment, I realized I was drawn not to the baby, but to the dog, and something in me shifted. At that moment, I realized that I had become child-free instead of childless. That was when I began to accept my path. I will be a mother, but in my own way. I threw myself into rigorous study, and for the next 10 years, I commuted weekly by air between San Jose and Los Angeles in California. During that time, I earned 2 master's degrees, received 2 ordinations, and published this book in 2015. Along the way, I also discovered the joy of flute playing, art making, and horseback riding. Since 2005, I have been serving others as a teacher, a chaplain, a cantor, and a rabbi. Life has been full, deeply fulfilling, and endlessly interesting. Through it all, I have found a way to understand and define my own path, walking it alongside my beloved Dave and our puppies. Rabbi Uri Cohen of Nishmat, Jerusalem Center for Advanced Torah Study for Women, wrote a wonderful article addressed to childless readers, full of encouragement, kindness, and resources. Dedicating this article to Nishmat single and or childless alumni, he concludes, Torah doesn't say be fruitful via multiplication, but rather it seems like 2 separate commandments. Yes, be fruitful and multiply. Applying it to us, childless people, we should bear in mind that we can and should be fruitful even though we are not multiplying. We should make the most of ourselves as spouses, as siblings, as children of parents, as employees, as employers, as members of society, in the merit of being best we can be. May Hashem grant us our most fervent wishes. For many of us, the shift from being childless to child-free comes through discovering our life's purpose, which becomes an anchor. For me, being both a rabbi and cantor is deeply fulfilling because it allows me to mother people of all ages in a variety of ways. It enables me to connect with others through music, intellect, spirituality, emotions, and yes, even humor. I will end with the poem that I wrote upon completion of this book, Reconciliation of a Clergy Woman. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open my lips, let my soul sing your praise. Hineni, here I am, humbled, grateful, silent in awe, surrounded by the beauty that is my home. Each step I take through the meadows of your creation is a prayer of gratitude for every blessing you have placed in this life of mine. I was not destined to carry a child within me. This truth no longer wounds, for I see now, through kindness, my care for your people, these have been my offering to you. This is how I live the first mitzvah. Pru urvu, be fruitful and multiply, in spirit and with love. You called my name so long ago, I couldn't have imagined this life, one I have come to cherish. No child calls me Ima, but still I am a mother in Israel. Through love, through compassion, through artistic creation, your light moves through me. I forgive my body for not doing what I thought it should, because this body, this sacred vessel, has had to endure a path that chose me, a path of service. I am a mother in Israel, and my children are many. Baruch ata Adonai, shehefachta neshama begufi hameyuchad. Blessed are you, my God, who placed the soul within this wondrous, one-of-a-kind body. I thank you for the power to give, the capacity to love, the capacity to love your people, Israel. Thank you. Again, this presentation would have happened without you being here, and for that, I'm incredibly grateful. And of course, I would like to invite everyone to ask any questions that you may have of me. Usually, I'm pretty much an open book. I don't really hold back too much. So I'm going to give Mark the microphone. Any questions for me?
Who wants to be first?
I don't have a question. I have comments. So as soon as this book came out, I went on Amazon and I bought it. And I had had a procedure. I came home, thought I was going to sleep, and I took this book and I said, okay, I'll read a few pages. An hour and a half later, I was finished. This book hit home in so many ways to me because early on, I had a hard time conceiving, and I went through miscarriages. And when I finally got my beautiful redheaded daughter, who all of you know as Andrea, it fulfilled me. I tried again, and I thought to myself, no, they broke the mold with her, I'm good. And I read this book a second time and a third time. And I bought copies of it and gave it to each of my friends, especially the ones who could not have children, because I wanted them to see how full your life can be. It doesn't have to be a human child, but it can be another child. And I get when you talk about the dogs, because I feel that way too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I can't wait to read the book, and Mazel Tov on this accomplishment.
Thank you.
I hate the word barren. It just has a connotation that is so difficult. And I wondered if you would talk about that a little.
The word barren in Hebrew is akara, and akara is even worse than barren. It is a word that we use in frustration, in anger, in pain. Why have you, God, why have you made me barren? Childless comes later when you start making sense, or you start trying to make sense of the fact that you might not have children. That is when childless, the concept starts, seeping in, and you start thinking about it. I can't really speak for others, I'm speaking for myself, but I can tell you the word barren really expressed all the anger, the anxiety, and everything that I was feeling due to the fact for not conceiving. And these feelings are real, and they needed a word, and barrenness really was the word. Thank you for bringing it up.
I have never approached anybody, I talked to anybody about women who say they've chosen not to have children. now I don't know if they chose not to or if they can't, but have you, in your thinking about all this and putting your book together, talked to women who choose not to have children?
Absolutely. There is a couple of them mentioned in my book because I actually interviewed, no, it's okay. I actually interviewed a few clergymen and women, and at least a couple of them never really wanted to have children. And that is, again, not the reality that I come from, but there are definitely women, for a variety of reasons, that chose, right from the start, to not have children. And today, we have to welcome anyone for making their own decision about their own bodies. I didn't take the next step with IVF because I was terrified. I was terrified of the procedure. I couldn't, simply couldn't. And some women know this about themselves, that they're not going to be able, after they try for a little bit, they know that about themselves and they stop. But yes, I have definitely met people that did not want to have children right from the start. Yes, thank you.
My son's stepmother was unable to have children, and it didn't seem like that big a deal to me when I first met her. In fact, I was okay, that's fine, she'll my kids. When she told me about her experience, the pain was so real, and so even years and years after, she actually one time did a post where she was talking about the different names she had picked out. She would conceive, but she would lose the babies. She had a couple of second trimester miscarriages, which were particularly awful.
Yeah.
And and I realized as I was talking to her, I realized how important it had been to me, kids, and how it's just it's a very, I think from what I've seen, it's a very painful process to adjust to.
And this is the pause that I'm taking with this book. I'm asking people to pause for a second and consider those of us that seems happy-go-lucky, life is wonderful, no children, but most of us have wanted children, except for, a couple of people I discussed, but most of us wanted to have children and couldn't have those, and the pain is real. In fact, it's so real that sometimes you really, really question your own sanity. Thank you.
This is an interesting time. I work in disability services, and I actually have 3 people I know personally who have chosen to self-sterilize. 2 of them are definitely they identified it as they have significant mental health issues that they did not want to, as they put it, burden a child with. And one of them said, I don't know that I could handle the stress.
Mm-hmm.
The third person I know, she didn't really, she kind of laughs it off, oh, I'm just going to be free and I can do what I want to do. And but we're seeing a trend in the disability field where people are afraid of passing on mental health issues or even physical issues that are, maybe that are genetic.
Yes.
And so we're seeing a lot of, and like I said, I mean, of the 3 people I know who chose to self-sterilize, 2 of them desperately want children, would love to have children, but just don't feel like they can do it.
It's such a responsible decision to make. to really save a life of hardship of a child, it takes such bigness of soul, really. Any other, sorry, stay.
You interviewed some men in your book as well, and just to point out that infertility is a couple's problem. It is a shared pain, and it's more easily born, it seems to me, when both can come to not an accommodation, but to a sense of what is the proper purpose for their relationship.
That's true. That's true. Yes, I definitely do interview men, and I know that there are some relationships where men are the ones who really want to have the children, and the women, for whatever reason, are reluctant to have a child. One case in my book describes he's a doctor, and his wife was very, very ill, to the extent that they were afraid she will die if she gives birth. Therefore, the topic never really came about. It was obvious that the life of the woman is really the most important before thinking about children. In fact, in our Jewish tradition, when we ask ethical questions about abortion, the life of the mother is always first in importance, always preserving the mother's life. And if a mother says, I cannot conceive, I do not want to conceive, I cannot use my body, that can be very devastating to men who would like to have families. Yes.
I just think it's interesting that for so many women, once the technology is there to overcome infertility, I can see the pressure to use that. And I really respect your decision that was not appropriate for you. So I applaud you for that.
Thank you.
I think there is the road down that I have heard from friends and other relatives is incredibly painful and incredibly stressful for the couple, especially if it doesn't work. And the fact that you and your loving partner are together still, I can only say that must have been the right choice for you.
It really was, because I wouldn't be able to endure that. And I really, really wanted to. I really wanted to make my mom happy, my family happy. Because what do you mean you don't have children? What do you mean? I mean, lama lo, why not? And convincing my family of my own, interpretations and my own fear, and, facing with the pressure. And that was incredibly hard. Absolutely. Yes.
I was wondering if you ever considered adopting and what your opinions or thought process on that was.
I did. And you see, there's a part of me that says here in my head, you should tell them that you wanted to. You should, but I'm not going to. I thought about this. It wasn't for me. It just wasn't for me. For a variety of reasons, I really, really wanted to have my own child. And when that did not happen, I don't want to say it was all or nothing, but that was the feeling. I really, really wanted to have a child of my own, like everybody else around me. And I did think about adopting I studied, Eastern history, and I thought, I'll go and save a Chinese child, a Chinese girl. I'll go and save her. The more I thought about it, I realized it was not for me. I really, really wanted to focus on schooling at that time. Schooling was it for me. And I knew that I could not really get distracted and being pulled away in other directions. It's either my own child or I'm moving forward with my studies. And that's what ended up happening. Thank you for asking.
Rabbi, you brought back some memories.
Okay.
Yeah. I expect Randy has shared with you our journey.
Are you sure it's okay to share here?
Yeah.
Okay.
You okay? So, we went through the whole process for years. So we actually, went through all the different infertility treatments. Nothing worked. And so Carly's actually a miracle baby because she came after all that, and
when you were not expecting it.
When we were not
oh
expecting
gosh,
it,
I
right.
was praying for something like that to happen to me too.
Yeah, it was a true miracle. But the memory you brought back was, and maybe I just repressed it, was we're from Boston, and often we'd be taking the pilgrimages up to Boston for family events and stuff, and so invariably we'd be at these family gatherings, and all the older generation, like one after the other, well, what's going on? When are you guys gonna have kids? Come on,
yeah.
And literally, if you can imagine, when you're going through that process, and you're, and they're like, and so I think I was starting to get infuriated by it. It's like, I'm like, come on, but then I kind of almost made a joke of it. I finally started to say, hey, we try all the time, to try to have babies. Don't worry. So part of that, of what you were describing, I remember feeling like, how could people just assume that we're just sitting on our hands, just doing nothing, just because we don't have children, not understanding we are trying
really hard.
The question I have is, I'm not sure I connected right with that sort of precipice you came to, in the park with the dog and the carriage. Can you go a little bit deeper, of the meaning behind that,
Sure.
how that transition was?
Sure. One of the things that I enjoy doing is walking, and thank you for bringing up this question. And I was miserable. I was miserable. At school, I was miserable. I was just a basket case, and I didn't know what to do with all the emotions and the feelings other than continuing to try do acupuncture and continue to go for walks, just continue to try to focus on having a child. And I was so focused on all of that a lot of other things in my life kind of were pushed to the background. And then when I was doing my power walk, and before that, whenever I would see a baby and a mother, the longing and the pain would be unbearable. Every time I would see a mother and a child, or a father with a child, it would be excruciating. That interaction, when I saw the dog and I said, wow, look, it's a giant schnauzer, that was a breakthrough, because I wasn't feeling at the same time this horrible, almost, the word that comes up to mind is Holocaust. This continuous Holocaust of not being able to do what I want to do. That stopped. And I embraced, the woman and the dog, and I thought, well, maybe that's me. I'll have a giant schnauzer and we'll definitely walk. And indeed, we did get giant schnauzers. Yes, and minis and standard schnauzers as well. So that was the shift. The unbelievable pain of seeing a woman with the stroller turned into, oh my God, look, it's a beautiful dog. And then, oh wow, she has a baby as well. This woman must be a superwoman. But that was the moment that the pain shifted.
As someone who not able to have children, I had never actually talked to him about that. I met Rabbi. Not even with Rabbi Mark. We never even discussed it. He asked, I kind of veered the conversation somewhere else. Talking with you gave me my breakthrough, to where it didn't hurt me. I don't have to. And ostracized, it's very painful. Ostracized from my initial, I thought would be my family and my being ostracized by my family that raised me, ostracized by my husband, his family. But I am a mother.
You are.
And I realized the love that I had for a fellow Marine.
Your students.
Everyone I come, my students, all the animals that I feed, even in the woods behind me. But talking to you gave me my, and I can never thank you, because the word never express the love I have.
And we all feel it, Sheena. We all feel it. You are a mother. You have mother energy. Thank you for sharing.
Rabbi Meeka, from the very beginning, we knew you were special. Not for this reason, but I'm grateful, in a sense, that you've adopted all of us as your children, because my mother is no longer here. You're not my mother, but you're my good friend. You're somebody who has opened my way of thinking to a lot of things. And I feel that I'm saying for everybody in this congregation and anyone who meets you, we are truly blessed that you're in our lives. And if you had had children, you may not have been in our lives.
It's true.
So I, for one, and I won't speak for anybody else, you can have my grandchildren anytime you want them.
Thank you. Thank you, Terry. Means so much. Thank you. I think. Oh.
Hi. Throughout the book, you reference the palm tree quite frequently, like almost opening every chapter. I was just wondering, because I know it has many meanings, but also kind of the same similar meaning throughout. For you, did that represent more of your survival throughout the process, your grief, your resilience? What would you say?
Yes. Somehow, the palm tree has always inspired me. And there's different kinds of palms. And there is one in my parents' house, current house. They're moving from there. It's where I grew up. It is so tall that you can see it from the moon. It is so tall. And the reason we know it is because we were told that this is this palm tree that has been there, and it's isolated, no other palm trees. One palm tree outside my parents' apartment has been there all along and just growing taller and taller. And the people who do, what do you call those things that fly, satellites. They told our building that they used that palm tree as a sign, as a, you know, point of reference. And I do believe that the palm trees, the way that they withstand storms and they still produce fruit, even after storms of burning sand. This is something that really spoke to me. And I happened to find this. I happened to find it in, I think it's called WikiPix or something like that. It just was so obvious that that's the cover of my book. So yes, palm trees, definitely. Thank you.
So, Rabbi, a question for online, and also I have that same question. I'm going to combine these. You're clearly an outspoken advocate for the mentally ill, and people want to hear what your thoughts are on diagnosed mentally ill and perhaps related to socioeconomic issues that they have for whether or not having children, whichever route they take, is appropriate, and what your thoughts are.
Thank you. If there are no more questions, I think Rhonda had a question. I saw you lift your hand and then put it down, lift.
Well, exercise.
Okay, give me the microphone back.
First, Tashina, I think what you experience is a taboo that's still in our society. It's something we don't talk about. It's something we don't share. You go around the room, many of us have stories of infertility, of miscarriages, of late miscarriages, of things that scarred. I know when I had my first miscarriage, which was at a horrible time, I was teaching class and I had such pain. It was awful.
Oh no.
It was just really awful, but got through that. But then I got these letters from women that were associated with the school that just poured out their heart.
Wow.
And how much we don't talk about it, but it really is still such a taboo.
It is a taboo.
No matter it, and it's even if you have one child. Well, did you only have one child?
Exactly.
You're supposed to have three. Because you have to replace, and what's taught. The comment I was originally going to make was about the fruitful and multiply. Rabbi, I really think you multiply. Very often I'm sneaking in on a Thursday morning when you have all the Kindlas, and they are just as cute as can be, and your love and the intensity of this joy, just pure joy that they have and you have. It's just wonderful to watch as I'm in the kitchen peeking in, as I'm sorting out the cart and all kinds of things. But it is something that multiply is a word that can take on different meanings. So what we do in Tea and Torah, we talk about what could that word really mean? Well, you're multiplying love.
Yes,
and
thank you.
By doing that, you are giving to children and you don't know what's going on in each of their lives, in each of their homes, but you may give them a safety net that they can go back and lean on in a moment when they're scared or insecure or not sure what's going on with mommy and daddy. And if there is both, there's so many things. So multiply, I just viewed in a whole different way.
Thank you, Rhonda. And what Rhonda is referring to is every Thursday morning, I'm here at 11:30 with the Pitzkalach, with the preschoolers, and we have this ritual of, at the end, after we celebrate Shabbat, and they all sing Beam Bam and the dinosaur and all that, we have this ritual that they all look forward to, I look forward to. And that is, if you'd like to give and receive a hug, let's stand in line. They all get in line, and they all come running to me for a hug. And no matter what, there's always a hug. Always. Thank you.
Yeah. One more comment. I just watched the 3-part series on Fox. It's called, it's Women of the Bible. It's Faithful. And especially the third one, which is on Rachel and Leah and their journey. If you haven't watched it, I would say,
Thank you.
It's worth an hour to see it.
Thank you
It was
so
really
much.
good.
So I did have one question, or maybe it's a comment. I was just reading in, I forget if it was the Times or the Sun, one of the two, about global birth rates and how globally, in the United States particularly, but in all over the world, birth rates are going down.
I guess Rabbi Kushi didn't hear that.
Yeah, well. And they seem to be tying it with sort of people's outlooks to the future, and how in so many places around the world, they're more negative. People have less confidence that they're going to bring children into a world that's going to be as good or better, but maybe not so much. And I don't know if you want to comment on that or not.
I wonder if every generation has people thinking this way, because the good news and the bad news, the world has not changed. It's always the same. There's always a war somewhere. There's always these big news that rattle our reality and our world. Always has been, always will be. I'm sure there have been people throughout generations who have been asking themselves the same question. And here we are, we're still here. And there's still billions of people in the world. So my comment is, I'm not worried about humanity stopping anytime soon.
I think you're absolutely right. What's changed is 24/7 news cycles.
Bingo.
And international news. We never saw those things.
That's right.
Any other? Oh.
My mom was born in 1935, and she said when she went into first grade during the Depression, and the teacher said your parents were very brave to have you at that point. And I think, there are times when there's stress.
Absolutely.
Going once?
I wanted to say thank you to everyone. Thank you, Mark, for driving the microphone around. And thank you so much for being here. This is great honor for me. I want to extend my gratitude to Marcia and to Randy and to Stu and to your teams and to Sheena and everyone who helped to make today possible. Thank you so very much. And we will continue in the social hall for wonderful, wonderful food that was prepared to us in advance. Thank you. Thank you so much.